Hey guys, it's your favorite Jedi, the BMF goddess. I'm here doing a short podcast solo today because it kind of hits close home for me. I hope you are all doing well and, in great spirits when you're listening to me today. Recently I've received quite a bit of an amount of hate aimed at my bisexuality from a few different people, of which I was familiar with, and or the other two which have followed me on social media for a while. So my topic today is on the growing epidemic of homophobia. Because it's something that's been around for a very long time and continues to grow, much like racism. What it is to be homophobic, it's pretty much it's having or showing a dislike or prejudice against gay people or the LGBTQ community. June 28 marked 51 years since protesters fought back against a police raid of New York's Stonewall Inn, and that catalyzed the modern gay rights movement. But despite decades of progress, people of the LGBTQ community across the country are, experiencing targeted acts of violence, and it's only on the rise, guys. Like, it doesn't get any better. It's gotten worse, and it's just all the shit going on in the world. It's like enough is enough. Hate is like the biggest disease on this planet. I respect people's right to religion, but I can never believe in any religion that also tells you to hate a certain group of people. If you've experienced or witnessed any anti-LGBTQ violence or know someone who has, you can call the Anti-Violence Project hotline 24/7 at 212-714-1141. All calls are confidential. You can also report violence anonymously or ask for an online counselor to reach out to you online. When homophobic people have, come at me, it's mostly been the average hypocritical Bible quoter. But I have, kind of built an immunity to it over the years. There's not much you can do about the type of people that, are just willing to accept a person being different from them or going against what they believe. The world would be a lot easier if they really stuck to that motto, to each their own, and just mind their fucking business. But I guess that's what makes life interesting and a pain in the ass at the same time. So I'm going to talk to you guys about heterosexism and homophobia. For those unaware, heterosexism is discrimination or prejudice against gay people on the assumption that heterosexuality is the normal sexual orientation. You do not have to be lesbian, gay, bi, or queer, or know someone who is, to be negatively affected by homophobia. Though homophobia actively oppresses lesbian, gay, bi, and queer people, it also hurts heterosexuals. I'm going to explain why. Homophobia itself, it inhibits the ability of heterosexuals to form close, intimate relationships with members of their own gender for fear of being perceived as LGBT. Homophobia locks people into a rigid, gender-based role that inhibits creativity, and self expression. It is often used to stigmatize heterosexuals who those perceived or labeled by others to be LGBT, children of LGBT parents, parents of LGBT children, and friends of the LGBT people. Homophobia compromises human integrity by pressuring people to do others badly, actions that are contrary to their basic humanity. You know, Homophobia combined with sex phobia results in the invisibility of erasure, or excuse me, the invisibility or erasure of LGBT lives and sexuality in school based sex education discussions, keeping vital information from students. Such erasures can prevent LGBT young people from learning about sexually transmitted infections. Homophobia is one of the premature sexual involvement, which increases the chances of teen pregnancy and the spread of sexually transmitted infections. Young people of all sexual identities are often pressured to become heterosexually active to prove themselves and others that they are normal. Homophobia prevents some LGBT people from developing an authentic self identity and adds to the pressure to marry, which in turn places undue stress and oftentimes trauma on themselves, as well as their heterosexual spouses and children. Homophobia inhibits appreciation of others' types of diversity, making it unsafe for everyone because each person has unique traits not considered mainstream or dormant. We are all diminished when any one of us is demeaned. By challenging homophobia, people are not only fighting oppression. By challenging homophobia, people are not only fighting oppression for specific groups of people, but they are striving for a society that accepts and celebrates the differences in all of us. You don't have to be part of the community. You don't have to be gay or anything to support the movement. There are a lot of straight people who support the LGBTQ community because what's right is right. And hating a certain group of people because you don't agree with what makes them feel fulfilled in life. What the fuck does that have to do with you? For what? Who the fuck are you to say how someone else should live their life? When someone can answer that, then maybe. But go fuck yourself. Identifying heterosexism, actions, and thoughts that. Basically, I'm going to break down some stereotypes and assumptions that are the root of this heterosexist attitude, simplifying the diverse LGBT community, and often disempowering them. The following actions and thoughts are going to be manifestations of these attitudes. So, this subcategory is going to be over sexualization. 1. Assuming that lesbians, gay men, and bisexual are only sexual beings rather than complex people who have, among other significant features, a non-homosexual orientation. 2. Assuming that every same-sex attraction is sexual or potential sexual for lesbians, gay men, and bisexuals. 3. Assuming that a lesbian, gay man, or bisexual is probably interested in you sexually, regardless of your sexual orientation. Now, that's a big one because, I've dealt with it all. I've had boyfriends who thought I was attracted to every girl that I met just because I was bisexual, or I've had female friends who automatically thought that I was attracted to them. Like, no, okay? If you're straight, does that mean that you like anything that walks on two legs? No, that doesn't mean that. In fact, it's pretty fucking ignorant. The next one. Interpreting everything lesbians, gay men, and bisexuals do in terms of their sexuality. And the last one. Avoiding touching them or being too close, or being scared of giving them anything in general, which is just completely ignorant. It sounds stupid, and it is stupid. The second subcategory is denying significance personally. 1. Commenting that it doesn't matter to me that you are LGBT. A basic part of someone's identity and sense of self should matter. It just shouldn't matter negatively. You get that? Like, okay, it doesn't matter to me that you're gay or whatever. But it should matter. Just not negatively. That's all. Anyway, next one. Expecting people to avoid talking about being LGBT. Expecting them not to talk about their partners or relationships. Like, that's just stupid. If you're friends with, or, if you're close to anybody who's like, yeah, I'm totally cool that you are part of the LGBTQ community, but they don't ever want to hear about your relationships or anything like that, or your partners, then they're not really all pro for you. I'm sorry. That's ignorant as well. Next subcategory. Denying significance politically. 1. Criticizing LGBTQ individuals for making an issue of their sexuality. For example, commenting, I don't care what they do in the privacy of their bedrooms, but don't tell me about it. Seriously? Shut the fuck up. If you've ever said anything close to that, like, go suck on one. That's ignorance. It's all ignorance. Number 2, not understanding that in their culture, what is alternatively oblivious to LGBT individuals or dangerous for them, sexuality is already a political issue. Number 3, not seeing that heterosexuality is politically supported by giving legal, financial, and emotional privilege to heterosexual relationships, while legally denying LGBTQ individuals involved in same-sex relationships, housing, jobs, and child custody. Next subcategory. Labeling homosexuality or bisexuality a problem. Diagnosing homosexuality, bisexuality, talking about cures or causes, which assumes that it's not normal and fine. A bisexual, lesbian, or gay man may need special support and or counseling around the issues of being non-heterosexual in this culture. However, the problem is heterosexual sexism, not bisexuality and homosexuality. So, making it visible. Assuming that everyone is heterosexual until proving otherwise, that's something that's common in our culture, but should change, because automatically it is like, I don't know if it's a human thing or people, I don't know, but we tend to, meet somebody and be like, oh wait, you're gay? Really? Like, how about, hey, how you do it? And then you be like, hey, I don't know if they could be gay. Well, the first thought automatic is always if they're straight. And in today's world, it's very much like, it's mixed up. It's a mixture of cookies, man. Always asking women about boyfriends and men about girlfriends. That's another thing that comes up in casual conversations. Like, hey, you have a girlfriend? How about, hey, you got a girlfriend or boyfriend? You know, I know some people, stupid people, would take offense to that. Like, just is it just a simple nah, I'm straight, or yeah, I'm this or I'm that. You shouldn't get mad at somebody for being respectful. 'Cause I find it more respectful if you do mix it up, because you don't know. Let someone be comfortable with telling you, I'm gay. Another one is assuming that marriage is everyone's goal. That one I want to put a pretty little star on, because that's how you, and in society in general, period. That's just the mold that we grew up with. Like, okay, we gotta get to the picket fence and the house and the kids and the husband, the wife. Like, please, that's so it's just so old school. Like, get over it. In today's world, I want everyone to feel like, hey, I could do whatever the fuck I want with my life. There is no end game. The end game is whatever the hell I want it to be. I could be all the way over here doing my own thing. The pressure itself, and I could go on a whole tangent on just that alone, but the pressure itself that society gives on marriage being an end game. People need to relax with that. Take it out of casual conversation. Don't ask someone if they're planning on having kids or getting married. Ask them about their goals in life. What is it that you want to do for your career? We should normalize that, for real. Anyway, keeping bisexuality, homosexuality invisible by not making it safe for people to be out, or by excluding people who are out from visible positions where they might, provide positive role models for younger LGBTQ individuals, or denying that bisexuality exists, assuming that heterosexism doesn't exist because you can't see it, considering heterosexism less significant than other oppressions. It's not. Next subcategory is generalizing, assuming that the LGBT individual represents all of them. One person does not represent a whole race, and one person does not represent a whole gay community, okay? Everyone is different. Everyone has their story. Don't put everybody in the same nothing, okay? It's inappropriate on many levels. Just don't do it. And conversely, separating one LGBT individual personally by saying you're okay, you're not like the rest of them, over asserting your heterosexuality. That's not okay. Okay, guys? If you're rushing to talk to your relationship, if you're rushing to talk about your relationship when you meet a person of the gay community, to make sure he or she knows that you're heterosexual, again, there's nothing to be afraid of. The worst thing that can happen is that if you do meet someone and they do flirt with you or something, telling them you're straight. When you tell them you're straight, most of us will respect that. And that'll be that. There's no reason to be fearful or, having to assert that you are straight. We're not going to attack you. Like, if you're avoiding behaviors or dress that might cause suspicion that you are not a real man or real woman, or if you're avoiding touching or close relationships with people of the same sex, or excusing other heterosexual people's heterosexist jokes or comments. This is all generalizing. Another subcategory is expecting to be taught. You're putting the burden of responsibility for educating and working for change on the LGBTQ individual. The burden is not ours to bear. Like, again, communication, asking people. If you don't know something, ask. It's that simple. If you're forcing LGBTQ individuals to always take the initiative in coming out, like, everybody has their own time. You cannot, even if you feel that way, maybe they don't recognize it yet. If you're not making openings for people to come out by acknowledging in conversations the possibility of non-heterosexual relations, or becoming upset if LGBTQ individual is not always patient about educating you, have to be a little bit, more open-minded. Now, this is the last subcategory, but it's an important one, which is misdefining bisexuality or homosexuality. Confusing bisexuality with non-monogamy, which is it's done very often. And the reason I know, because it happens to me. First of all, there's a stupid fucking, I don't know what you would call it, a common phrase, I guess, known as want your cake and eat it too. Bisexuals are often referred to as this. People who want their cake and eat it too. No, that's not what it is. For me, I know I equally enjoy men as I equally enjoy women. So for me, I'm just equally attracted to both. I equally crave both. And that's all it is. My love just goes both ways. It may seem greedy. I don't know. I think more love is never a bad thing. So the more love you share, the happier you are. But hey, it's not for everybody. But yeah, that doesn't mean that we can't be monogamous, because I've been in plenty of relationships where I was just with that one person and I didn't even have sex outside their gender at all. I can just be with one person and completely commit to them. That's not hard at all. It's just like in any heterosexual relationship. I've been with women and not dated men while I was with her, or been with men and not dated women while I was with him, and I've dated both at the same time, and they've been okay with it. It all really depends on your relationship dynamic. I've had mothers of men that I dated worried that I would cheat on them because I was bisexual and I would crave a woman. You will always feel that in you because you're attracted to both. But that does not mean we're wild savages who need to have sex with both or need to be with both at the same time. Like, we're fucking human. There's no science to it. Well, there's no extra drama to it just because we are who we are. It's all just ignorant thoughts. And I suggest, if you really don't understand, ask someone or ask the person. Just be, respectful. Instead of just assuming or thinking your own things or thinking that you know, because most of the time you don't. Ask. That's it. Assuming that bisexuals are fickle or promiscuous. That as well. We're not picky and we're not promiscuous. That doesn't mean that just because we enjoy both. Or if assuming that lesbians hate men. There are lesbians out there that enjoy getting fucked by a man but won't be in a relationship with one. Like, that's just is ignorant thinking. Like, or assuming that LGBTQ individuals want to convert heterosexuals. Nobody's trying to convert y'all. Okay? Maybe some of us may have had crushes on straight people, but that's as far as it goes. Nobody's trying to take you guys to a fucking camp to try to turn you gay like you guys try to do to us. It's just stupidness. Alright? And that is the real truth, guys. Trying to help someone go straight, as I just stated, like, it's not gonna happen. Okay, don't pressure someone to be what they are not just because that's what you feel like they should be. Yeah, some people might go along with it because they feel pressure to do so and they just want to fit in. Let them be themselves. If you don't like it, go find another friend or even a family member. Because it's the worst when it's your own family. But you know what? Go fuck yourself. And I know there are a lot of people, that are struggling out there, coming out to their family, and they know that they would probably be outcasted or, worse. And I really feel for you guys. But all I want to say is that you got to live your life for you. Because your life is yours to make happy. And even if that means standing on your own with nobody's support, in the end it will be worth it. I tell you. I promise you. And lastly, but certainly not least, this is so common, of people thinking bisexuality or homosexuality is a phase. It's not a fucking phase. That's it. It's in your fucking DNA, and that's who you're gonna be forever. Whether you live the life or you don't, it's always gonna be in you. It's always gonna be in that person. There's no change in it. Period. I knew from very young that I was into women. I didn't understand at the age that I started feeling feelings. I was only in kindergarten. I was much like into my teens that I really realized, this is who you are. But I remembered the instances when I was in kindergarten and how I felt towards females and what I was attracted to. For those who realize certain things at a young age and don't understand it, it takes them time in life. Some, it happens earlier than others. I didn't completely come out the closet and let everybody know that I was gay. That I was bisexual until I was 21. And I had my first, solid relationship with a woman. But it took me a while to definitely. And oddly enough, so many people in my family were gay, so it wasn't like I had, to be fearful or people not accepting me. It was just something I had to accept within myself. But as far as all the crime, and I'm just so tired of watching them. I don't even want to add them to this video. I've added them to my Pride Month video, a couple of things. But I really don't like to give views or much attention. I don't like to repost the violence that does go on against the LGBTQ community because it's really upsetting for me and it's terribly depressing. This world is full of a lot of hate and violence, and it's aimed at many things. But the fact that we all struggle in life, we all, have a life that we want to live and live long and happy, and however we could get through it. that we can't just accept each other and help each other in life. And just there's literally there's no reason, there's no, you waste so much time on hate and trying to oppress other people. I'm just kind of at a loss for words. I mean, it's definitely not something that's ever gonna stop, because it's just it's being passed down from generations to generation. And with people, a lot of certain people in power who, provoke or, kind of stroke these people's egos, these ignorant people, there's no end in sight. So for the people, everyday people like me, and the people who are part of the LGBTQ community, as like myself, my message to you is to just live your truth. Be who you are. Be careful. Keep yourself safe, but don't let anybody make you feel like you need to live in a box. It's scary. It's fucking scary. And everybody's situation is different. And I understand how scary it could be. I totally get it. But you only have this one life. You don't get another chance. Live it. Live it how you please. And send the rest to hell. Because let me tell you something. Your blood is going to hurt you. Your close friends are going to hurt you. People you don't know are going to hurt you. But there's so many people like you, similar to you. There's people who don't know you and would totally support you. There's people you haven't met yet. Don't worry about the trash that's in your life bringing you down. And I guess I'm going to just leave it at that. I hope that some of you educate yourselves. And thanks for listening. Love you guys. May the force be with y'all.